Welcome back to another exciting, effective living Monday night conversation. I'm your host, Coach Ricardo Miller. And tonight we're going to have a great talk because I'm joined with my good cousin in the Bahamas, Anastacia Smith. What's up, beautiful lady? How are you?
Hi, I am good. I am great, actually.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I know you have a bunch of incredible things happening in your life, and we're going to dive into some of that stuff. I heard the dog in the background. What kind of dog you got?
Pitbull.
You have a pit bull?
In-house pitbull, yeah.
I don't know if you heard the show I did with Empress. I tell people don't be messing around. If you got a house pit bull, just know that it's still a pit bull. Okay. Now it's trained, and I love it. I have one of the incredible ladies who I work with. Her and her husband have a house pit bull, and they love that dog. It's an amazing thing how one person can be afraid of a thing and another person can embrace it to a degree of having it as a pet. Well, let's talk about that before we go in, because somebody sees your dog and they're like, "Oh my God, what's been the expression?"
My best friend literally does not come over anymore.
Yeah.
She calls and she says, "Hey, you put the dog away." And so, like, my dog name, her name is Nala, because
Uh-huh.
she looks just like Nala from The Lion King, that full light brown and the hazel eyes and all of that. So
Yeah.
she's Nala. And every time that my best friend is coming over, she makes sure she calls first. Did you
Yeah.
put the dog away? Yes,
Uh-huh.
I put her away. Any of my son's friends or anything like that, they don't even care. They absolutely don't care because she's such a friendly dog. She
Uh-huh.
does not bark a lot. Like when she did it just now, is because there was probably a strange sound in the area.
Right.
So
Right.
she'll let me know that type of thing. If I see she perk up in the middle of the night, that means it's something unusual. But she already knows everybody's sound. She already knows everybody's smell. Like she is a very, very chill dog.
Love it.
I
Love it.
think she's taken on my personality.
Come on now. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen her get like rowdy at anything? Is it another dog or somebody standing in the front of the yard? Have you ever seen her show her? I don't play with me. Don't play with me. I can go. I can be angry too. Have you ever seen a little light angry side?
No, I've never seen her full throttle.
Okay.
There was one time just like 2 weeks ago where my son's friend came over and she was in the room with me because she'll follow me around. She's
Okay.
not worried
Okay.
about what my son or my daughter is doing too much. As long as I'm home, she's foot to foot behind me. And
Uh-huh.
I guess she was sleeping, so she didn't realize that he came into the house. But she heard him coming the hallway,
Uh-huh.
and then he had this low growl, and then the bark came out. Lord, that's not normally you. But then, of
Uh-huh.
course, when she saw who it was, she was fine. But
Nice.
if you're a dog or a cat in the backyard when she goes out to do her business,
Yeah.
you're gonna get chased. You better know you're gonna get chased.
I got you. I got you. So she's still a dog, and she's very protective, right?
Yeah, yeah, she
I
is.
I love it. I love it. Anastacia, we are here with Effective Living. We've been doing this thing for a while now. As we now embark on yet another week, every Monday we drop a blog on the website, people. And today I wanted to pick Anastacia Smith's mind when it comes to the whole term speaking. And there was a time station people would have called you shy. Do they still call you shy? And let's dive into that whole term of shy. Are you still being labeled shy?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe that I still am in a way, but then I never really use the word shy. I am just selective in speaking.
Come on now. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, because like persons who know me and they've been around me for a long while or whatever else, they know I love to talk foolishness. I'm still not the most talkative person, but I love to make sure that everyone around me is having a good time and talking nonsense and just having fun. But for someone that I do not know, I'm gonna sit back and watch you. I gotta observe your personality first and see where the boundaries are set before I get into anything. A joke that I tell one person may not be funny to somebody else, so I gotta
Yeah,
read you a little bit first.
nice. Now, do you think you picked that up early on, probably when some would have probably said you were more shy, and then you observe setting, and then you realize, okay, this is more an environment where I can, well, for lack of a better term, let my hair loose, or this is one where I need to keep my posture set to ensure that I'm sensitive and aware of everything that's around me. And yeah, you may think I'm shy or non-verbal in wanting to express myself, but I'm observing. I'm observing. What's your view there on the earlier years where some might have said, "Oh, I think she is shy." What was your view on that?
I would agree with them.
Hmm.
I in my earlier years, I do believe that, it wasn't just being selective, it was somewhat being careful, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
because you I would not want to say the wrong thing or I would not want to do the wrong thing. And it was I was a little bit more fearful as a kid of other people's opinion of me
Hmm.
and what I may be projecting when I speak or when I do certain things or whatever. And I was more concerned with that when I was younger. And then of course you get older and you realize, you know what? This is me.
Yeah.
This is what I do. This is who I am.
Yeah.
Anybody that is in my circle knows it already. And anybody that's not in my circle, they're not close enough to judge me. So
Yeah.
it doesn't affect you in the same way. You don't hold
Yeah.
it as close to your heart anymore.
Today, I want to talk about the concept of speaking up, and we're going to go somewhere with today's talk, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching ever on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube, please note our goal is to help, and I believe hearing both of our stories and being able to be a part of this conversation, you'll pick up what you need to pick up. That's for you. When you look at the whole concept of a person coming out of their shell, what advice would you say to somebody who may have been more reserved, but now are more reserved, but needing to move from being reserved to now just be selective and expressive as necessary, because sometimes not speaking up at all can actually hinder you from getting, the results you want.
Yeah. My advice to somebody would be first, make sure that you've taken time with yourself because you want to be clear in your thoughts and you want to be clear when you speak. Because I've been in a lot of conversations where, and like I said, I observe people deeply, regularly, continuously. So I'm in a lot of conversations where, someone would say something and it's not truly what they meant.
Right.
And
Mhm.
because of the personality that I am, I'm going to ask you questions. I'm like, okay, do you really mean so and so and so? Or is this really what you meant to say or whatever? And then they further explain themselves. But I believe that if you just take a minute before you speak, or if you take a minute in your alone time and you think about what it is that you want to say and how you want to say it, and try to put it together as clearly as possible, you can avoid those type of things a lot. And then also, if it's a thought that's in your mind, especially if it's something that's pressing,
Yeah.
because I've found that sometimes I'll be listening to people talk around me and whatever, and I'm like, oh no, it's not my conversation or it's not my place to speak up or whatever else. But God works in so many mysterious ways.
Yeah.
And that happens to be one of those ways that if you know or you feel that there's something pressing in your head, in your heart that you need to say it, there may be a reason behind it. So don't stifle yourself. Don't hold yourself down. If you feel strongly about something, make sure that you speak up. It's beneficial to somebody. It
Yeah.
may even turn out to be beneficial to you.
Wow, that is so good. That is so good. The whole concept of speaking up. Let's uh, rewind back a little bit and go over personal development. You have been, from the seat that I'm sitting in, a passionate, committed person to continual development. You've enrolled in college. You've enrolled in certification programs. You've been involved with the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture there in the Bahamas. In addition, you find yourself serving in church work and in community endeavors. Continual education. Where did you see the igniting passion or commitment for that coming into effect as to who you are now? Like, when was it something that you made a commitment that, you know what? When did it start that you said, you know what, after high school, I don't think that's going to be enough? And even after maybe getting one or two certifications or maybe a degree, you still said, I still need to do a little bit more. What made that become a part of who you are? Because that's what I see in you.
Believe it or not, my continuance or my involvement in a lot of the things that I've done and been a part of has been centered around children.
Yeah,
And the more that I think about it, that's why I
yeah,
started smiling even when you said it. Like the more that I think about it, almost every aspect of my life has
yeah,
either been inspired by or leads to children in some sort of way. Because when I started with the bachelor's program with UE, it's in um, early childhood development and family studies. That's entirely it.
yeah,
When I
yeah,
started with the youth empowerment program, I realized that most of my background has been with children, like 12 and under, and I wanted to get into teenagers. So that was my outlet there. The National Children's Day Committee, I'm a part of that also. I'm on the board of that also. Um, the youth leadership program that the Ministry of Education offered. I, at this point, do not have a plan in mind for a foundation or to ask for a grant or anything like that. But
yeah,
someone else went through the program and they said that, it gives you insight into counseling and it
yeah,
gives you insight in how to deal with different situations with kids and things like that. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me listen to what somebody else is able to say about how to deal with certain things. There's some stuff I haven't seen yet and haven't come across. So whatever knowledge I can get beforehand to be able to handle these things that are somewhat inevitable,
yeah,
let me do that now. And, a lot of these things come with a bit of paper along with it to say, hey, you did that. So,
yeah.
oh, yeah, of course.
Continual education for somebody who's watching us. You know, there are a lot of people who check out. I think it's a mistake. But in your opinion, what's your view on someone? It's a mistake. Sorry, it's a mistake in not continuing. Some people just, after they finish high school, they stopped. After, they just stopped. I think it's a mistake in having stopped. I think we should be lifelong learners. For somebody who's watching, uh, in small increments, a person can really transform their lives and become astute in a subject matter if they would just be willing to take the breadcrumbs of opportunity that present themselves.
Right.
What is your view on that? Because opportunities present themselves. Obviously, you have taken advantage of those and embraced them, and they're helping you to be who you are today. Talk to that person who, one, don't have a commitment to continual education and aren't interested in the small little increments of development that actually adds up over time. What do you say to that person?
The benefits outweigh the sacrifice.
Yeah,
Definitely. The benefits will outweigh the sacrifice. It is going to take you a lot of time to get up on every Wednesday for 6 weeks to go and
Yeah,
sit in a room with a group of people that you didn't really want to get to know. But guess
yeah,
what? A benefit of that can be your networking skills. You're going to be in a room of like-minded people. And
yeah,
eventually, y'all are going to start some conversations and y'all are going to make some pathway and a little headway into something else. And you don't know where that can be. You're going to get some information from your instructor. You're going to get some information from your experiences. So, yes, it is a sacrifice. It is going to take you away from doing something else that you would want to do. But you have to consider what it is that you need to do. What is it that you need? When you, like I said, with a lot of these little programs and things like that, even when my church offered a leadership workshop, it was for, I think, 8 weeks.
yeah.
And I went and I was a part of that also. And even that ended up with a certification at the end. It came to little ceremony on Sunday morning and everything. I was all proud and cute and all of that. And there's a lot of things that you could be doing in that time.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, even with just the leadership seminar at church, it put me in a better position when it came to my service in children's ministry. It put me in a better position when it came to me being in an administrative position at work, because the insight that somebody else has into a subject or into an area, you don't have it yet. They have something that you need. And so take the time. It may be a little hard. It will cost you a little more gas. I know gas is expensive and everything, but the end result is going to be wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking with Anastacia Smith, my co-host here on Effective Living Monday Night Conversation. Listen, every Monday night we're doing an exciting talk where we're focused on little things you can do to make your life better. And I wanted us to dive into the subject matter on the importance of speaking up and what that is like for Anastacia on her journey to being who she is today. Now, here's the deal. I did not send her any questions. We're straight up ad libbing. We're going back and forth because I just wanted to pick her brain and I just wanted y'all to know, listen, this lady is amazing doing her thing. And so, Stacia, let's talk about it. You know, as you've highlighted already, you're very involved, okay, in a number of different things that's making your life work for you. So many people say, I don't have time. So many people say, you know, but I just don't have time. I don't, watch this. I don't have time like Anastacia does. Oh, oh, come on, burst that bubble, Anastacia. Come on, burst that bubble. I don't have time. Like Coach Ricardo Miller. What do you got to say to that person or those who are watching with this notion that they don't have enough time?
My response to that would be we all have the same amount of time.
Yeah,
We have the same 24 hours. We have the same 365, 366, depending on the year. All of us
yeah,
have the same cycle. We have that same trip around the sun. So
yeah,
it's about what it is we choose to do with it.
yeah,
That half an hour that you spend strolling Facebook could
yeah,
have been used doing something more constructive. That could have been on an audiobook.
yeah,
Trade the Facebook for an audiobook.
yes,
The hour that you spent watching something on Netflix, and it starts out as an hour. It only starts out as an hour. But when you get into a good series on Netflix,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
all that
yeah,
time just goes, it just melts away.
yeah,
But if you found something that you're interested in, that time is going to slip away the same way. Just
yeah,
because you have that passion for it, you have that belief in it, you have that interest in it, the time won't feel long. It won't feel like a chore because you're doing something that you like to do, that you love to do. And so the time that you're spending doing other things, you need to evaluate it and ask yourself, okay, I'm spending my time doing this. What is it going to gain me in the long run? How does this get me closer to my goal? How does this get me to be where I want to be in the next 5 years? And if the answer is it doesn't help you, then either you need to minimize the time that you're spending doing that, or you need to cut it out of your time schedule completely. Because it's always about moving forward. It's always about that growth. We should always be becoming, we should always be moving into the next phase of our life. Because if we're not moving into it, then that means we're staying where we're at.
Yeah.
So in the next 3 years, you're still going to be here, sitting on the couch watching Netflix series for 4 hours out of your day. In the next
Wow.
6 years, it may be another program. It may not be Netflix, it'll be another platform, but you're still going to be sitting there for hours on end doing what it is that you're doing if you don't make that conscious decision to manage your time.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm of the belief that days are expensive. A day wasted is a day you'll never have again. And so, Anastacia, you hit the nail right on the head. And really, the truth is, as she mentioned, guys, we all have the same 24 hours within a day. We have been given the same year. 2022 is all of our year. But what we do within the year. So now you say, I don't like my life. Well, speak up to yourself and say, why am I doing what I've been doing and not making any changes? I
Right.
say, have you ever found yourself having to speak to yourself? Let's talk about that for a moment before we take a break. Have you ever found yourself having to speak to yourself? I can recall having to speak to myself. And as a matter of fact, I found that it's not what people say about me, it's what I say to me that matters the most. It was that changed me at the highest level. What's your view on the whole concept of what others are saying to you versus what you are saying to you? How are you doing when it comes to speaking to yourself?
Well, I had two clear moments in my life.
Yeah.
When both of my kids were 15, I think 15 is the magic number. I tell everybody around me, I think 15 is the magic number for kids. They just go completely haywire, off the rails, and they just start freaking out. But at the same point for both of my kids when they were 15
Yeah.
was when they started to, act out a little bit and, they derailed from the usual path. And I found myself in a place of, listen, I think that I've done everything that I could. I think that I've given them what I could. They didn't have everything, but they had everything they needed. They've been a part of all of these programs. I've spent days driving between the baseball field to the track, for Malia to do track and for Kaylin to do baseball, and then back and forth again, and practice and equipment and clubs and everything. And you just feel like you poured so much into them, and then the return that you're getting in that moment is like, oh my goodness, what in the world has happened? Where is the kid that I used to know? And I started to think of myself as the reasoning why. And I really, really got down on myself both times. I really got down on myself. And then I had to lay in bed and really think about it and realize, you know what? I've done what I can do. They're at an age and at a point in their lives where they are making their own decisions and they're trying to find their own way. And at the beginning of their journey of finding their own way, they stumble in a little bit. But it's not for lack of anything. Definitely not for lack of anything. And then, of course, I had a conversation with my best friend, and she was like, listen, are you crazy? I was with you when you was driving up and down. I was with you when we was in the bookstore and in the mall buying cleats, and the boy just wear them like 3 times. And I was with you. So don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you dare put this on yourself. And thankfully, both of them, they grew up and they got on, and, they came back to being the kids that I knew after a while. But no, in that moment, when that first hits, when those transitions first come around, Woo, you gotta be strong in the Lord. These kids will drive you crazy. I had to pat myself on the back a little bit, and I had to knock myself in the head and say, you know what? Think back and reflect on what you could have done different or where you went wrong. And remember that in the moment, you felt that you were doing the right thing. You
Correct.
thought that you were doing the right thing. You were confident in the step that you were making, and
Yeah.
your intentions behind it was always good.
Yeah.
So I,
That is
I
so.
had to hold my head a little.
Hey, listen, hey, that whole how you dissect that just now, a whole book can be written over that. And I know for those of you guys that are watching us tonight, I'm telling you that right there was loaded. That was loaded. Stacia, I can remember, RJ is 20 now, and I can remember when I had to have a breakfast meeting with him, and I sat with him and I said, listen, I have done what I could, and I will continue to try to do as best as I can. But I'm not going to be imprisoned by your opinion of me in elementary school and middle school or even high school. Listen, I'm a learning man and I
Mhm.
gave my best effort in these different seasons, and you still could get the best out of me in the new seasons to come. But
Yeah,
boy, I'm gonna free me from all activities as to what you do moving forward. Because now
yeah,
life is about to shift on the decisions you make for you. And I'm not going
mhm,
to imprison myself. And so I've had to spoke. I've spoken to myself on many occasions. Ricardo, you did what you could have. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to continue to do what you can. But boy, let
yeah.
me tell you something. You, as you mentioned, these kids will try. Now, and unfortunately, there are some parents, somebody watching us right now who says, you know what, my kid is trying, they're doing. They're literally causing me to lose my mind. I'm here today to tell you, don't allow them to lose your mind.
Yeah.
Don't allow them to lose your mind. Take control of your life by starting to speak to you. Rather than trying to speak to them, start speaking to you and tell yourself, I'm not going to lose it. I'm not going to lose it. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to allow them or anyone to cause me to lose it. Speak to yourself. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to come back and dive in a little bit more. I want you to learn more about this incredible lady, my cousin, Anastacia Smith. We're going to talk about some cool things she's doing, and we're going to give you some good practical things you should be doing on your journey of becoming as well. We'll be right back. We are the subtotal of the choices and the decisions we make on a daily basis. Hi, I'm Coach Ricardo Miller. Every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, that's here in Texas, or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's the time in the Bahamas where Anastacia is at. Stacia, we're talking about this whole concept of speaking up. You launched a platform with a massive focus on the idea of becoming. Let's dive into that. What really spoke to you on the whole term of becoming? Because it is so powerful. The word becoming is powerful. And if somebody would just grasp the revelation that comes behind that word for a personal drive on a daily basis, it'll make a person unstoppable. What motivated you and really ignited within you the idea to kick off an interest centered around that word becoming?
Well, remember me talking about the audiobooks and
Yes.
how
Yes.
you spend your time and all of that? Well, I got the the audiobook of Michelle Obama's book,
Mhm.
Becoming.
Yeah.
And it was it was a great book. First of all,
Yeah.
it's a great book. But based on the title, it was a little different than what I expected. But I understood what it is that she was trying to bring across and the growth and the process that has been her life from before becoming the first lady and the transition of the life within and after being the first lady. And so that
Right.
is, it covered that entire span and I understood it and I related to it and I loved it. Now, after that, I thought about the word itself, like you said, there's so much attached to it. There's a greater definition to it than when you just look at it, because
Yeah.
it's another word for it could be evolving,
Yeah.
changing,
Yeah.
growing,
Yeah.
striving. There's so many other words that could be used in its place, but becoming is not like any other word. And so when I chose to brand it as be becoming,
Yeah.
it is an encouragement to always be changing, to be
Yes.
striving, to be growing. And so I would want to encourage everyone around me to, make sure that you're not staying stagnant, that you're not just staying in the same place. You say all the time, if you knew me 5 years ago, you don't know me anymore, because
Right.
that growth and change should always be continuous. There should always be at least one more element to your life that
Yep.
has grown and has been evolving, even if your entire world isn't changing. We're not expecting that you're just going to be somebody else in 2 years, like a new job, a new house, a new car. No,
Yep.
we're talking about personal growth, personal development, and your
Yep.
effect on the atmosphere around you. By your growth and change, by the example that you're setting, you're helping somebody else to become. You're helping
Powerful.
someone else to be inspired to make changes and make small steps and do things that will benefit them in the long run. Because every step forward still gets you closer to your goal.
Yes. Yes.
If you're not taking those steps every single day and you've made up in your mind, okay, I can't do every day, but I'm going to do every other day, or I'm going to do twice a week, it's still forward movement.
Yeah.
It's still change. It's still going in the right direction. Even if you have to step back once or twice or whatever else, the steps that you've made already, those 10 steps that you've made already, if you have to step back twice, that puts you at 8. It didn't
Yeah.
put you all the way back at 0. It put you at 8. And
Right.
so you're
Right.
still ahead. You're still in the right direction and you're still going forward. And so that's a part of what Be Becoming has been for me. And I've also started a little venture into career planning under the platform. Um, I have a few kids. I even have a boy in Freeport whose mom I'm in contact with pretty frequently. And so whenever there's a college fair going on, and I've put him with a mentor so that he will get deeper information on his career choice so that he
Yeah.
can ask whatever questions from somebody that's actually in the field and things like that. So whatever it takes to get him as clear about his path and what he wants to do and how to get there as possible from an earlier point in his life, rather than him waiting until he's 25 and then just figuring out, oh, you know what, I actually do have an interest in plumbing. Let me see if I can do that.
Yep.
The earlier that you can find out and figure out what it is that you want to do and how to get there, then, the better that it'll be for you. And so I've I've tried to be, I am trying to be a little bit of a guidance, a little guiding light to the persons around me, the kids around me, and stuff like that, that are unsure of what it is that they want to do and where they want to go. And
Yeah.
so that's a part of where all the other programs come into play too. Because I
Yeah.
believe that the bigger my atmosphere is, the
Yeah.
more change that I can affect.
Most certainly. Most
In
certainly.
order for me to be able to do that, I had to kind of get out of my own way and socialize a little and network a little and kind of talk to people.
Now you said that, and I like it. Getting out of my own way, and that whole concept of becoming and making a commitment to a bigger atmosphere where you realize I can make a contribution. I really can. I can help somebody, and it maybe starts with one person, but then it can move to a class. It can move to an organization. It can move to a community. It can move eventually to a nation. And ultimately the world. And so many people don't capture that whole element of the becoming. And as you mentioned, all form of progress is progress. All form of progress is progress. You know what I found to be very miserable, Anastacia, is to be given time and not know why. To be given days and weeks and months only to find yourself not doing anything with it. And
Mhm.
there is something called the very minimum. Okay. And anybody who is giving just the bare minimum will find themselves miserable. Okay, we're not created to give the bare minimum. We're created to give maximum performance. If you're gonna be a parent, be the best parent possible. Max, push it to the max. And you may can't be the parent like the neighbor. You may can't be like the your boss. You may can't be like a sister, a sibling, or a brother. But you can sure enough take it to as far as you can take it, the maximum. As an employee, as a member of a church, the maximum, not the minimum. And there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who are simply saying, I'm going to give just as much as I can get away with. In other words, if life doesn't demand anything of me, I'm
Right.
not going to give anything back to life. And I think that's a
Mhm.
miserable place to be. I think it's a miserable place to be where you had the potential to do great things, but you never give yourself a chance to maximize your potential. And essentially, when we look at what you've been doing and the person you're becoming, and there are people who don't know that the truth is, we all have an opportunity to inspire others. We all have an opportunity. And let me tell you something, and any form of progress that you are making, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are watching, any form of progress you're making, please know someone is failing in that area. You're making progress and you're a promise or a possibility to them. In other words, you're inspiring them for the fact that you're making, oh, but I'm not making a lot of progress, but you're making progress. What's your view on that whole thing about, we're all somewhat capable of making progress, but the whole comparison station has the ability to just suck the life out of us and allow us to forget that we're in an amazing place and that life is so much better for us than so many others, that someone is praying for our current position. So your view on comparison, your view on others accepting the fact that, man, any form of progress should be celebrated and not compared, but appreciated for the progress you're making for yourself. Talk to us about that.
Listen to me. I was almost at a point that my 215s took me.
Yeah.
Um, Not too long ago on the same journey with the Becoming platform, because I know that there are things that I'm doing like in person, um, but I know that there's more that I can be doing. I know that there's more time that I could be putting into it, and there's more reach that I could have with it than what I'm doing now. But I do know that I'm still making some moves and making some progress. And so I had to, talk to myself and calm myself down a little bit about it because I'm thinking to myself, man, listen, the page isn't getting as many likes as I would want it to get. And the hosting, um, my Monday nights, I'm like,
Yep.
okay, I don't know how many persons are able to hear it because I'm
Yep.
sharing the flyer and putting it out there or whatever, but I don't know who's able to hear it because I'm not getting that feedback, you know? I
Mhm.
was trying to talk to myself and encourage myself and make sure that I keep it going and that I don't lose hope or lose sight of what it is that I want to do. But
Yep.
you still don't want to feel ineffective. You
Yes.
don't want to
Correct.
feel like I'm doing this, I'm pushing, I'm going, and it's going hard and everything like that. And it's not getting anywhere or it's not helping anybody around me. And on my cell phone, on my WhatsApp, I have nobody to see I have the privacy set not for my read receipts to be done. So I can't see if somebody else has read my messages, and also someone cannot see, if I've read their message and all the rest of that stuff. And that goes for the status too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what I put up, it'll always say 0 views. And I
Right.
was
Right.
fine with that. I was
Right.
okay with that because it was my choice. I put it that way.
Right.
But um, in the midst of me trying to figure out if I had any reach and if I was getting anywhere with everything that I was doing, we had an effective Monday, one of my
Yeah.
Mondays,
Uh-huh.
and it was the night when I had TM Ernesto and TM Renell as guests. And
Mhm.
you know how Toastmasters are. Listen, you put us in a room together and we are
Uh-huh.
gone,
Yes.
absolutely gone. So
Yes.
we had a great night and it was fun. And my focus was on in the moment, getting to talk to them and have them share their stories and making sure that we had a good show. But
Yep.
the next morning, I got a call from Shelly
Yeah. Our cousin.
and our cousin. And she
Yeah.
was like, girl, Stacia, I didn't even know you could talk like that. I see you. You look like you was comfortable. And she was just going like, girl, I wish I could talk like that. I can't talk in front of people, but you look like you. And I never knew. I
Wow.
never knew that she listens to that type of thing. I never knew that she's none of it. Like every so often, I would get a call from someone, I'd get a message from someone who I do not think is even a part of that atmosphere.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that word from them just to say that, you know what, I heard you and I liked it. And you know what, when you said this, I related, or when you did that, I related, or I saw you this place. Um, I was at a bridal dinner. I don't know if you want to call it a bridal dinner, like it was a social before the wedding.
Yeah.
And we're
Hmm.
all just sitting around the table and hanging out. And I saw family again. I don't know. I
Uh,
saw Donna and Elwood. They were
uh-huh.
having dinner on another side. So of course, went over and say, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?"
Yeah.
And Donna says, "Oh, well, what's that you're doing over there?" I said, "Oh, well, it's the social before the wedding or whatever." She said, "Oh, I thought it was one of the girls' clubs or one of the groups or something like that that you're a part of. I thought it was one of those things." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay." So, so you'll be seeing that some
But,
stuff is happening.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely did not think or expect that just continuing to live life and do what I'm doing and,
Yeah.
trying to be as consistent as possible with these things would reach the people that it has reached in a positive way and their family. And I know that they're not just gaslighting me or whatever else,
Right.
because it was genuine conversation. It was just,
Yeah.
mentioning.
Yeah.
So if it's coming to them and reaching them in that way, it gives me that encouragement and that hope to think that that everything is going further than I think it is, the reach is longer than I think it is. And
Uh,
so I definitely would not want to let go or give up. And I will continue trying to network as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah.
As hard as it is for me, it is hard. I don't want you to believe that it's not hard because I am a behind the scenes type of person. I would prefer to be in the background of the room. Like I said, the observant nature of me, the person, the people watcher in
Yeah.
me, I would love to go to New York. I could be a people watcher. I could sit out on a bench all day and just observe people and be able to tell their entire lives from the way they're walking and what they're doing.
Wow.
But the people watcher in me is always there and it's always strong. But in order for me to be able to do what it is that I want to do and I need to do, I had to put it aside.
Wow. Wow. I like what you said. I had to put it aside. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why I wanted to have a free ad lib talk with you, because I felt as though there were more power, more gem. There was so much more value than a questionnaire sent to you early on that would just be a cookie cutter model that could have been prepared. But I wanted you to share your heart because I know that you're making waves, but sometimes in the brain of a person, a lot of people don't realize I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And years ago, someone told me that hey, there are more people watching. There are more people paying attention to you than is saying. And it's actually a couple of times in my career, I found myself saying, "Why aren't anybody saying anything? Right? Why
Yeah.
aren't anybody no thumbs up?" And social media has this way of feeding your reassurance through the numbers, like as you mentioned, to let you feel as though, "Oh, look how the numbers spiked," and so. I believe that it is very important that a comment, a like, or a share, or a reference to when you tell somebody, "Hey, I watched your live on YouTube. Hey, thank you. I saw what you post on Facebook. Hey, I was at that place where you spoke, and that's and man, you said something. I had a message sent to me a couple of weeks ago, and the guy said, "Hey, man, you were on the radio in the Bahamas, and you said a few things that literally it was the eye-opening thing for me." Now, here's the deal: that one person here, that one person there, boy, let me tell you, Anastasia, just as you mentioned Shelly, or you mentioned Donna and Elwood, people don't understand how powerful it is. Encouragement and a recognition of activity. When someone can stop and say or give reference to your activity, oh my goodness, it is miracle growth to the soul. It
Mm.
is encouragement at the highest level. And so, thank you for referring to that. Thank you for mentioning that, because I think people think it's easy. Okay, I think they think it's easy. And I remember when I invited you to be a part of these talks, and I say, "Hey, well, do you want to do, once a month, fifth Mondays?" And you said, "Well, okay." Right? And I know you might have said, "Man, he just threw me out there because I put you on the radio with Fishbowl Radio Network." He was like, "Man, he just threw me out there and just kept on going," right? But
Yeah.
I remember growing up in Auckland. When I went to Auckland, they throw you out the boat and tell you swim, right? They threw you out the boat to swim. Let's talk about this before our show ends. I want to talk about the fact that you have stepped up to the plate and have just lately been elected president of your Toastmasters Club. I mean, this woman, ladies and gentlemen, she's involved. She's doing her thing. And I got to tell you, Anastasia, you referred to a couple of people who highlighted they're watching you, but there's so many other people watching, and that's one. Here's the deal. That's why I think first and foremost I had to learn how to encourage myself and just tell myself this is what is right to do, and
Mhm.
the story will be told in the and maybe of the lives that were impacted, but I made a commitment to doing what it was right to do, even when no one was saying anything. And I think that's what you're doing. I think you're making a commitment to doing what is right to do. And so, even as a parent, your friend told you, "Girl, I was with you. I've seen you." But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
there were so many more people who've been seeing, but ain't saying. And so you're a Toastmaster. Just in a couple of minutes, you're a Toastmaster, so you know how to bring this message in. As a Toastmaster, uh, one, you're committed Toastmaster. You've served in office, but now you're the president of your club. Give us a little bit, a snippet of your Toastmasters journey. What made you join the program? What made you stay in the program? And how is it now that you're the president of your club?
Well, joining the program, to be honest with it, a part of it has come from you. You know that you've been my big brother forever and ever. You're the big brother I didn't have. We always swap in family members, so don't get alarmed. But
Thank you.
like you've always been my big brother, and I've heard you talk about the program and everything, and I've heard other people talk about the program, and it's just one of those things that hang out at the back of your head. But when I did make that conscious decision that, okay, I need to better prepare myself to be in front of the mic or to be in front of a camera or anything of that nature. Like, I have words. I work in education. I have words, but the ability to pull them together quickly, the ability to express myself clearly and to actually say what I mean to say what it is that I actually want to say, instead of just, alluding to something, but being clear in what it is that I'm saying and what I mean when I say it. And also, that Toastmasters has an awesome networking possibility. There have been some great people that I've met through the program. Even with us being in this COVID environment, I have met people internationally. I've been invited to a Toastmasters meeting in India. It was like 7 in the morning, but I went. I went, and it was great. So the program itself has great benefits, and I wanted to be a part of something that I knew was already tried and proven to have that ability to get me to where I wanted to go. And so when I first made that decision that I wanted to be a Toastmaster, and my friend Jana Stubbs, who is now DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster, she was one that invited me out. 7178. We all know. I'm sure that there's going to be someone that's going to comment underneath this video, underneath this stream, because they are a very proud group of people.
Yes.
Very, very proud. So I'm sure that someone is going to comment underneeth this stream and be like, yeah, this was the only Toastmasters Club. Yes, she is a part of them. And she invited me out, and I got to see the environment. I got to see the camaraderie. I got to see conflict resolution at its finest.
Yeah.
When you're able to disagree with somebody and you make your point, I make my point, the entire room listens, and then we come to a compromise, that is conflict resolution at its finest. And by visiting with Jana, I was able to see all of it, and at the end of the meeting, even though we've disagreed, we still love each other. You're still my brother. Like, it was a great showing of what the program is. Now, I didn't want to join her club. I didn't want to join her club. I wanted to get into my own space. Her club is a lot bigger than what I wanted at the time. I was just coming out of my shell a little bit and trying to get into talking in the room. And, her club is already big and established. I didn't want that. I wanted a smaller grouping. And so I started shopping around a little bit. I visited a club that was more like a nightclub. Like, they're serving drinks and everybody's just talking, and like a lady next to me was writing her speech right then before she stood up to present it. And like, I was like, I don't think this is the one for me. I went to one that was a church-based club, and I listened to one of their presenters and everything, and I was like, okay, even me not being a Toastmaster yet, I know that, there's a lot of things that she could have done in her presentation and her posture and all of that type of thing. I knew that. But when they gave her evaluation, it was all positive. Oh, you were great. I've seen your growth. And I'm like, I can't be here either because it does not challenge me enough if there's more that I can be doing or more that I should be doing, and you're not going to tell me that. I need you to be honest with me and say, you know what, your posture wasn't proper, or you needed to use more or less hand gestures, or your vocal variety wasn't on point this time. I need somebody to be able to tell me that and let me know where I'm going wrong so that I can fix it and do better the next time. So that club wasn't for me either. And when I found Dynamic Persuaders, it was a whole different thing. Um, they are more of a family than anything else. Our unofficial president, because he has done everything, he does everything. He has been a part of the Toastmasters program since he was in his early 20s, and he's a grandpa now. I think he might even be a great grandpa. And anything that you want to know about the program, he knows. DTM, Andrew Albury. When you listen to him speak and he starts telling you jokes, and he makes sure that you are a part of everything, he makes sure that you feel as comfortable as possible from, like how people say that from the head, it trickles all the way down.
Yep.
It trickles all the way down in that club.
Wow.
We had one of our members have a death in the family, and we went over and had a potluck. Everybody brought something, and we sat there with her and talked for a while, and was able to bring her spirits up a bit. And the family feel that I got from this club is like no other that I visited, and it's like no other that I would want to be a part of. So that is how I ended up there. That's how I got to be a dynamic persuader. But for presidency, I will honestly tell you I didn't want it. Let me just put that out there. I didn't want it. I've been a part of the club for 5 years now, and it's been great. I've been the secretary. I've been vice president of public relations 2 years straight. There's been a lot of growth in other executive positions, but this one position, I felt that it would be too much with everything else that's going on or whatever. I know within myself the level of commitment that I try to give to anything that I'm doing. And so I'm not going to want to halfway it. I'm not going to want to start out with, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and we got to do this and we got to do that. And then June comes around and it's like, oh, well, I intended to do this and then I wanted to do. No, that's not my pattern of behavior. So in accepting it, I wanted to make sure that I would be able to be as effective as possible with it and treat it the way that I try to treat everything else, and make sure that positive change has been affected by me being there. And so that's what I'm looking forward to in my presidency. And the team that has been assembled is a great team, full of spirit, full of life, full of dedication to the program. I've got 2 DTMs that I'm working with, and the others are on their way. So their commitment to the program and to the club has been great so far. And we're looking forward to a great year. We really are. I am hoping to get some fundraising things going, some charity things going, strengthen the club as much as possible, and then in June say bye. No, the good thing about the program is you can't be president 2 years back to back. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be immediate past president next year.
Yes, I am. I'm looking forward to being IPP.
Wow. Listen, congratulations on becoming the newly elected president of your club. As you mentioned, I'm a lover of the Toastmasters program. I've recommended it for years. I speak extremely highly of the program to everybody. And so hearing and having the opportunity to speak during you guys meeting and the induction of the officers was a major highlight for me. And so thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of that moment. And I'm so excited about this next year, And so when I'm back in the Bahamas, I'm going to have to come in and visit as a member, just sitting in and enjoying the camaraderie of what, like you've mentioned, a group of people who have become like family. That is
Yeah.
so good. And so I'm loving what God is doing in your life. In closing, what do you say to those that are watching that, they need to take baby steps to move forward to get them to wherever they're trying to go? And in this regard, for those who more specifically need to speak up, they need to get out of the shell and out of the people watching only. The observation window of seeing everything but not
Yeah.
seeing anything.
Yeah.
Seeing everything but not seeing anything. That whole concept of speak up or get engaged in life to a degree where you're connected to enough things, like you are. You're connected to enough things to clearly show that I have to speak up, one, and you're an
Yeah.
influencer. All of the seats you're sitting in speaks to the fact that you're an influencer making a difference in the world. What do you say to that person in closing, or those persons who are watching from around the world, on the importance of making the necessary baby steps as necessary to get to that place of moving beyond I don't talk, I'm shy, or I'm just an observer, I don't have anything to say?
Okay. What I would say to them would be two things. First, what would you like to be remembered for? Okay. You have to sit with yourself. I'm very good at sitting with myself and, and just thinking on things and reflecting and trying to move forward with things. So think about what it is that you would like to be remembered for. When my name is called, what is associated with it? When somebody speaks about me, what memory are they going to have, or what story are they going to tell when my name is called in the room? So that's the first thing. Think about how you want your name to be remembered. And then as you are making those moves and you are trying to get to that place of legacy where your name is representative of whatever it is that you decided to be a part of, whether it is to be known as a great electrician. Man, listen, I had a thing going on with my house and nobody else could figure it out, but I called him and he was the one that was able to do it for me. He was great. Whether it is of being a great cleaner, and we've had a cousin with that. That's one of the things that we remember about her too. And every family function, she was the last one to leave because she had to clean up and she had to make sure everything was straight. And everyone knew that, what, anything can be placed in her hands because she's going to make sure that everything is done well. That was her personality. And so you have to think about what it is that you're going to be remembered for and what's going to be attached to your name. And secondly, as you plan, prepare, make the moves and the decisions to do what's necessary for you to get that legacy, you have to remember your why. Remember why you're doing this thing. When you get discouraged, remember why you started in the first place. When you get tired of doing it, remember why you started doing it in the first place. When someone else is telling you that you look crazy doing it, you're not making any headway, remember why you started doing it in the first place and use that as your motivation to keep on going.
Wow. Anastacia Smith, ladies and gentlemen, that's my cousin. Cuz, man, I love and appreciate you. Super excited about all that God is doing in your life. Thank you for always being a huge supporter of me, and you've been pushing me for years. You've been encouraging me and supporting me for years, and I truly appreciate appreciate it. I love how life is coming together for you. And, here on Effective Living, we talk about the intentional effort that needs to be put into place to make life work for us. Well, guess what? You're doing that. And it looks amazing. And the best is yet to come, girl. Keep it moving. Ladies and gentlemen, every Monday we're here live on our YouTube channel. But in addition, live on Facebook, we're live on Twitter, and we're live on LinkedIn. If you're watching us and you haven't subscribed to our channel or liked our page, please do that. In addition, share this with someone. Something that was said can ignite the next season in another person, because what Anastacia mentioned, what was talked about on tonight's talk show, was the necessary thing for that person needing to go to the new season that God is calling them to go. So we just never know what will trigger positive change in a person's life. And that's why I like these talks. I tell people, eat the watermelon, spit out the seed. Everything may not be for you. But if you're a lifelong learner like I am, let me tell you something. This talk tonight was loaded. Pull out what's for you and run with it so you can make the rest of your life the best of your life. Anastacia, listen, keep soaring. Keep doing your thing. Thank you, Effective Living community. Make sure you put a comment in the comment section congratulating Anastacia for becoming the newly elected president of her Toastmasters Club. And listen, Stacia, listen, we went on and we went over time. I told you, the girl got the gift of gab. She been talking about she was shy for years. Shy what? God bless you guys. Have a good night. Love you.